Uh, Sorry for the glitch there. I think sometimes it just reminds us about how life can be. And this is also it buttresses what we are trying to raise awareness about. This our foundation, where life can just throw calls at us. So we set up this humanitarian foundation to provide resources that will alleviate the medical condition of ex-jam in need. And while that may be subjective, we've kind of like narrowed it down. You'll see it as we go along the way. And as we are doing that, part of the objective is also to coordinate their rehabilitation with the family. In terms of structure, you see how we have set up. Uh, we're incorporated duly with Corporate Affairs Commission. We do have Board of Trustees. We have our constitutions. There's corporate bank account. And in terms of operation, how we take in, intake, any new opportunities that is coming up, I'll share that with you. And then funding, which is the critical element of Survivor, is purely through donations by members. We depend on just the benevolence of, our participating members to survive. Now, that's what we're set up to do. What does this mean in terms of real life? And this is where we begin to get into the meat of things. I will not delve into the personal details, but I'll just give you an overview of the real life and real EXJAM that we've been able to impact and touch. Mental health is real. It's happening. That it has not happened to us, we should just be thankful. But for some of our colleagues, it's not being kind to them. And so we've had many cases where some of us have had, to intervene in their cases. And it usually starts with maybe you've grown so used to a particular person and you see their behavior that is now, out of place. Sometimes you think it's a joke, but then it continues over time. And so we've identified this, and with time, we're able to coordinate with their family members, where we've taken them. In one particular case, it was actually on the street where they were already, throwing off their clothes and, taking, water from the gutters and all those things. Now they're back. We have been able to rehabilitate them. They even set up shop where they're selling, day-to-day supplies. So that's one case that we've been able to do. And it's not just one case, it's categorized as one case. There have been several instances where we've had to intervene. The other one is the laser eye surgery, where we've had reports of some of our colleagues that they've had degradation of their eye. They're not able to see, practically going blind. What we've done is just to have direct contact with the medical facilities. We obtain, whatever it was required for them to do the surgery. No questions asked. We just requested this individual ex-jam to walk into the clinic, just follow the procedure. We took care of all the bills. And today, we're happy to say the eyesight has been restored. The person is back to life and contributing to the society. We've also had a particular, very thorny and windy case, which is kidney transplant in one of our colleagues. Unfortunately, this person died a year or so after, but there's something for us to be hopeful about, because he had over 1 year of quality life before dying. What happened was the kidney failed and it was undergoing dialysis. I think it was 3 times a week. Back then when Naira was Naira, and I mean like it was exchanging for maybe 130 Naira to $1, it was spending about $40,000 on dialysis 3 times a week. And so the case was reported. We intervened with the help of a number of us here in attendance today. We're so grateful. People stepped up, and then we transported this individual to India. Only when we got to India, they discovered that, well, there were some holes in his heart and there were complications. and they had to first do the heart surgery before replacing the kidney. Well, even as far back as then, even as high quality as Naira was, we're talking in several millions of Naira. But this time around, it's about restoring somebody's health. And we're able to do it. It was successful, both the heart surgery, both the kidney transplant. And we had the EXJAM back to the country, reintegrated with his family. And then after a year or so, he fell down and I think he died. So we will forever miss this person. But again, it's just an inspiration to say that we can do it together. And that's what we did. And then we have the case of cancer. This has been ongoing. And for those of us who may think this is just a white man's disease, please, what can happen to a white man is happening to a black man. The fact that we're not reporting it, it's a different thing. I know we're more caught up on saying malaria is the one that kills us and all those things, but some of these things, because we don't even know their symptoms, because they're also not easily detected until they are late, it's happening. So we've had to intervene. For a gentleman, who had lymphoma, we went through a series of chemotherapy, connecting different doctors, oncologists, and even at a point where we had a connection with one of our ex-JAM spouse here. They were ready to help, but I think we were already at a very later stage. And eventually, we lost that colleague. But the memory, the fact that we stood by this person, that we didn't leave him alone, that brotherhood, uh, uh, it will take any of us to die to know what smiling will mean. But if there's such a thing, I think we succeeded in making him, to feel fulfilled that somebody cared in his life. I won't go through each and every case that we have done, but those are just, key examples of our intervention. Each time you hear of EXJAM Humanitarian Foundation, that's really what it's about. That's what we are doing. And so, how do you get in? How do you be part of this? How do you contribute? It just starts by you making a donation to the corporate account that we say. Just donate. And then after that, there is no step two. All it takes is for you to donate and then sustain the donation. While you are donating, just please include, as part of the comments, your name so that we can acknowledge. It's part of the structure we have set up. We acknowledge every donation. It's also tied to the fact that when we perform our audit, we're also able to account for every single kobo or dollar or penny that we've received. So by becoming a member, it qualifies you that if you see any EXJAM, it doesn't matter their set, it doesn't matter their age, so far their EXJAM, you can bring it to our attention. And if you are close enough to this person, then you can actually be their sponsor. And we'll get into it in the next slide. What does it mean to sponsor an EXJAM? This has nothing to do with you paying money, but we'll get to it. And just while on this page, I'd just like to make some honorable mention of some key individuals who have refused to let the foundation die. Antigua is here with us today. We're grateful. This guy doesn't fail. Every month, I think is on steroid when it comes to that. Just auto remittance. We're so grateful. Oga Folusho Additional. And our ex-president, Bim Adisa, we're so grateful for your generosity. So these are just few people that I just like to acknowledge as we move on into the intake process. You've heard me say that you can sponsor somebody. So how do you go about it? Let's take, for instance, you notice somebody is sick. Sick in the sense that maybe it requires a major surgery, something that is not a routine. I don't mean that maybe you're popping in maybe blood pressure or those are not in the realm of categorization when we say major sickness. And so you see here the sponsor tied and joined to the hip with the patient. By the way, everybody we talk about on this chart, they're all EXJAM. It's just the roles that are different. So between the sponsor, who preferably, or we know whoever the patient is that is recommending for us to take on, will be a member being a donor. Once that connection is made, it brings it to our attention. That's the board of trustees, where we begin to do the analysis. The fact that we want to validate that, are you really qualified to sponsor somebody? We have a record of all the donors. So if that individual has not donated before, it's not obligatory, but what we encourage is look for somebody who has made donation to this foundation, and that is the person that can become or act as a sponsor. And is that person now we begin to interact with. We start by saying, okay, what are the medical records? And we get in touch directly, with the hospital that you've been discussing with. And after this, we confirm, we assess the nature of the sickness. And based on the treatment plan, we're able to, make an assessment of how much this individual will need for their treatment. This will be reviewed by the board of trustees. And after the review, if there's sufficient information, then we go into approval. Now, interestingly, you will see there's only 2 red arrows here. What this means is the rest of the arrows, they are happy path. There's hardly any situation where we reject. We've not had that situation. It doesn't get too far. Where we've had to say, oh, maybe this does not qualify. We've had cases where people come and they say, oh, now doctors say I have high blood pressure. Can EXJAM Humanitarian Foundation sponsor me? And we're like, no. That's not part of this. That's not what we consider critical. As a matter of fact, what we consider critical is what I have highlighted here. And you can see the categories. We bundled it into maybe 5 major categories. And you see the percentage. Those are representation of the number of times that we've said yes versus the number of times that maybe we've had to push back to say, sorry, you do not qualify because you have high blood pressure. So the success of us intervening, of doing what we set out to do, is extremely high, given the standard we've given ourselves. There are instructions guiding this. For the interest of time, that's why you see me, I'm just trying to be at pace. The corporate account where we can donate, I've provided it here. I believe you also have it in your chat. There's really no minimum or maximum when it comes to what you can give. And there's really no good time. Every time is good. That's why we set up this account. Anytime you credit it, you can be sure you get an acknowledgement specifying exactly how much you have deposited. And then the aim is to actually have an expanded scope. That has been our desire, because that's a lot of question that has been coming up to say, oh, apart from being sick, can't you, take on this case or take on this case? We have it, but we are also constrained by the purse, the amount we have in our wallet. You can only help when you're well funded. And so far, we've been struggling. And that's why this is so timely with the audience we have, with the caliber of people we have, that we're actually setting a high expectation that even within the 1 week of this awareness, we expect that, in fact, the banks will probably write us and say, we are getting too much donation coming in. I hope this will be the case. So please, we want to expand. We've all had these sweet memories of our past instructors, of our teachers. Just like we think we are getting old, they are even older. They even need it. Our approach to EXJAM Humanitarian Foundation has been to say charity starts from home, and that's within us. but not that we shouldn't look outside. So if we get enough in our wallet and we can sustain it, these are some of the proposals that we have, that we want to extend it to our instructors in their old age if they are sick and we can help out. We want to extend it to even the natural causes. Right now, you will see that a lot of our beneficiaries, they're in Nigeria, they're doing this. What happens even to our brothers that we suffer catastrophic, losses like earthquake, hurricane or fire? It's not a fault of theirs. And this thing can be, excruciating. And of course, we have people who are extremely poor amongst us. I know that debatable is subjective, but it just to say that we are also ambitious in expanding whatever we set out to do. Now, how do you fit in? What is in it for you? And this is the interesting one. So bear with me. When I say unus pro omnibus, omnibus pro uno, it's a Spanish word. It means one for all for one. It's just knowing that there's somebody who's got your back. It's knowing that people care. It's knowing that we want to do unto others as we would like done unto us. That's one of the things that is in it for you. Then think of it again in terms of strategy. Let's be real. There's so many things competing for limited resources. We understand. We also understand that there's no need to feel guilty or irritated or intimidated. That's often the case when you're going and somebody calls and say, oh, please, we need to raise funds tomorrow because somebody is in need and this. And you are also facing your challenge. You're not able to do it, not because you don't want to do it, but that's just a wrong timing for you. So this is strategic in nature, where we can begin to contribute towards a pause. So if somebody like that, if you were to receive a call and they say, oh, somebody has been involved and is going through a major surgery, all you need to do is just to reference it. You don't need to go into panic mode or feel guilty about that. That is what is in it for you. And then we've spoken in part about the excellence. Let's think of it. We're well structured. We're incorporated with the federal government, Corporate Affairs Commission. We have our constitution guiding us. We've shielded ourselves from any political influence. That's why you don't see us, regardless of who is our maybe national president or chapter president or secretary. It doesn't matter. Our focus remains the same. This is par excellence of what we do, in addition to acknowledging every donation because we audit ourselves. So there's a lot in it for you. There's a lot in it for us. Then it could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody. So the choice of sickness really is not an option. It's not like we get to cherry pick and say, you know what I prefer is malaria or headache. No. Life can throw anything at us. And then what would that mean when even whatever resource, whatever title or position you hold, it becomes less meaningless every day without the support of the brotherhood? So it could be anybody. And that's part of what is in it for you. And the one that is really my favorite is, what's in it for you is because you care. This is what keeps me going, and is the reason why I've called on all of you. I've got this conviction, deep-rooted inside me, about our passion, about the care, about our brotherhood. Where else can I request a general I've not seen for over 2 decades to join a meeting, and he will join? Which forum or organization can I furnish an entrepreneur with an account details and it will credit our account with almost 2 million naira? Where does that happen? Who else can I turn to that will understand in our moments of need? I chatted a number of individuals, respected individuals, yesterday. I just decided that I wanted this thing to be big. I want to have a lot of money in our coffers. I've set a target that we need to reach between now, within a week, starting from now, in terms of pledges and donation. And it's being well received. So that's what is in it for me. That's what is in it for you. That's what is in it for everyone. I know the answer, and it's you. Yes, each and every one of you, there's something in it for us. Having said this, what do you need to do? How do you become a member? And it starts with the basics, such as what we are doing now. But it's only a few of us here compared to over 4,000 or 5,000 that have graduated AFMS that are now EXJAM. We want this awareness to spread. We want to socialize it. We want to grow our membership. And so, by becoming an ambassador, it means we belong to sets where we can actually chime in from time to time, where we can actually remind people to say, okay, let's donate. No amount is too small. No amount is too big. It's a commitment. And at some point, we need to start looking at it, that this is not about doing anybody favor. I've just expatiated on what's in it for us. We all have something in it for us. So just the way that we wouldn't forget our birthday, we can set calendar and say, okay, it's time to make a donation. Nobody needs to know. And when it's time, do it. And when you skip it, remind yourself again. It makes it easier for everybody. We are getting older. Let's not blame it on poor memory. Technology has fulfilled that space for us. We all have calendar. We all have reminders. So there are things we can do to empower this foundation to be on its feet. And then we are looking for help. Over time, we've had a number of, attempts. We want to build a corporate website. We want to make it easier. So if you want to, find out what's happening or what next we're working on, we can just have a simple website. So we're looking for people who are savvy, who are creative, who can help us to design websites. And even if we can incorporate some e-payment options along the way because of our geographical diverse nature. So we can donate in US dollar or whatever it is, but these are our aspirations. I've spoken about the expansion in scope. There are so many pinpoints that we have in terms of what we can do. It's not out of our reach. It's just a question of being dedicated to it. And one of the options that I've always envisaged is, as EXJAM, when we take all these dues and fees, why is it not possible where we can say just 2% of our dues, let's allocate it to this foundation? Why not? And let's see the impact. Let's know that for anybody who is paying fee, it's actually being channeled to help a brother in need. This is something we can do. And of course, let's keep spreading it on the global reach as we go along. So, you've heard me talk about how this is done. I'm not alone in this. As part of setting it up, we have our board of trustees that you will have heard me refer to over and over again. It's also what we've invited in our constitution is to say for any ex-JAM president general, as they succeed themselves, their honorary board of trustees, which means we keep them informed, we keep them engaged as to the happening and development of what's happening. So these are the board of trustees. These people were, started serving as far back as 2010 because as part of the requirement to set up in the Corporate Affairs Commission. That's how we put it on. And while we will have a lot of, disparage and, characters involved, I can't remember who said it, but it also always remained in me that the color of the rose lies in us, not in the rose. Regardless of how we think somebody is bad or good, we can always decide to bring out the good part of them. Everybody has that goodness in them. And this is what this is striving to bring out in all of us. And so I'd just like to say, in summary, uh, thank you very much. Um, I recognize it's late in Nigeria, and even we have other things doing. This is the first aspect to today's, awareness session. And this is where we end the presentation. The next chapter we'll be flowing into is to entertain the frequently asked questions. And I'll be calling on some members of the Board of Trustees who will take one or two questions. And of course, if you have other questions as to, this presentation, and I realize that I may have delved too deep into some and too shallow into some in the interest of time. But if you have questions, please feel free. We want to entertain that. And, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Ogakola. Thank you, sir.
All right.
So I think probably it's a good time to just recognize some of our Ogas in the house. Oga Chiedu Ebie, thank you for joining us, sir. I also have our past president, Oga Bima Disa. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Oga Reginald Lavender, Oga David Dogo, Oga Michael Musa, Oga James Bagudu. Thank you for joining us, sir. I have all sorts of names, but I'll just very quickly go through Oga Thomas Ayeni, Oga Yusuf Mahdi, Oga Ramadan Usman, Oga Said Saad. The list goes on. And my sincere apologies if I'm missing anybody out. Just to say, we really appreciate your being here. Oga Tosin, Oga Gosolalere, Oga Kwalade. Thank you so much, sir. This is awesome to have you all on the group. Just a few more information to add to what Oga Kolar has also shared with us is that the information that we are sharing here today, we will put that in a PDF version and we will share with all platforms that we have the availability to share this information. So you can see it, you know where to go, you know what the Humanitarian Foundation is about, the account details to support this great cause. I think that across board in all sets, one of the important things that we note is that there's a need. And this foundation represents all sets, not just 90 set, 80 set, 2010 set. This is a need that supports all EXJAM worldwide. So thank you, Ogakola. Thank you for the Board of Trustees for doing something so amazing on behalf of the EXJAM worldwide. Okay, so happy to take some questions. And at this point, we can talk through some of the information that we have here. And open it up. You have any questions for us, sir?
Yes, if there's any question, please feel free to ask. But these are the regular ones that we usually get. So what we've done is kind of like just compile them. I may have gone through some of them already in my presentation. So if there's any particular one you would like me to expatiate, please go ahead. And if you are actually touched and you think, it's time that you would like to make a pledge and or whatever, please inspire us. We're ready for it. That's just what's next now.
Yes. So in addition to that, please, if you would like to also give a donation and you want to be discreet about it, by all means, please. The details with regards to the account number is on there in the chat. So please look at that. Addition to that, if you want to put out a donation in there as well, please reach out to me directly or Gakola directly, and we can note it down as well. So thank you so much again, sir.
Yeah, no, thank you. And while we're talking about this, a particular relevant question to that is, how do we balance transparency with confidentiality? And this is so important to us that in as much as what we're doing requires that we get some personal information of whoever is sick, um, we make sure that they are tightly protected. The dignity of whoever is concerned is not revealed, except to those who may have been privileged to know the person. The same thing about whoever is contributing. Please feel free. That's why we encourage there's no minimum or maximum. In terms of donation, it's as you have and you want to give. It is not divulged. The only information you will get about that is a confirmation attesting to exactly how much you have donated, and that will come only to you. Um, but apart from that, it will probably be just some line items in our audit statement saying there's in and out at some point, but no names assigned to it. So I just wanted to use the opportunity to answer this question. And I don't know if Oga Olugu is online. I know he was struggling with his microphone.
Unless he's joined with a different name, I can't see him, but I see hands up, Ogakola.
Okay,
So maybe we start with Ogatosin, if you don't mind, sir.
sure.
Okay, good day, everybody. Let me start by saying well done to everyone that is involved in this initiative. Oga Kola, thank you for stepping out to do this. My question is this. I kind of sense that this is uh, an initiative that has gathered EXJAM as individuals. So contributions are coming in as individuals and also referrals in that same manner. Is there a relationship between the foundation and the EXJAM association? That is the first question. The reason I ask the question in this manner is that many sets tend to uh, put monies together to try and get one form of insurance or the other. So what that means is that there's a sort of consciousness in trying to cover their their members in that set. If the relationship between the foundation and the exam association were to look at it closely, then maybe there could be some policy direction in trying to get, you know, a proper structure of funding from the sets because they are already doing that anyway. So that's my question. Is there a relationship or you are striving to excel as a foundation and hoping that everybody will come on board?
No, thank you very much, Oga Tosin. So first of all, I would like to put it out there. This one is not set out to compete with either the EXJAM chapters or the national president. That is not. This is a part of the EXJAM as we know it. It's just an arm of it. Secondly, this is not about insurance, and this does not replace our individual strive to have insurance. As we will know, and especially in these advanced countries, it's one of the things I think you have to do. Most people, if not over 70%, you're encouraged to take insurance. I'm not sure that was my experience, and that is still what is obtainable in Nigeria, depending on what you do. And because we're in different facets of life, where a number of us may not even be entitled to see a doctor without paying to see doctors, it begins to drain on our resources so quickly when you throw in the mix of a challenge of maybe a medical need. And so this is not meant to replace the fact that we provide insurance, but even insurance, I understand they have limitations depending on what you run into in terms of sickness. So let's see this as complementary to those who are having insurance and actually encourage people In my set, for instance, I was part of those actually that set up and encouraged that we take on insurance. And even at that, I know that there's still some resistance. Not everybody subscribes to it. And this is where we tend to differ, where sickness doesn't care whether you have insurance or whether you're rich or whether you are poor or not. And so when you look at that vacuum, how do we manage our brothers, majority of whom are neither having insurance or having the kind of employment that can help them survive, a big medical challenge? I don't know if I've answered your question to the point you want.
Yes, you have, sir. Just I put it in the chat room. Can a
Okay.
set
Mm.
can a set be a donor, not an individual now?
Anybody, any set, and that's an interesting one. Anybody can donate to this. You can come as a group, like I said. It's just what we request is a way of contacting your set or group to acknowledge that we have received and indeed you have made such donation. I give you an example. I was running through this on the corridor where I walk, and I saw a number of chaps. One of them was an Indian lady, another one, I think, from Pakistan. And he said, "Wow, you're doing this? We've never done it in our own." And they caught on the idea and they said, "How can we support you? Do you give receipt for, donation so that we can?" I said, no, we're not yet there. It's part of what we're planning to do, but we've not done. And they said, "No, we're going to donate anyway." I'm like, "Sorry, we can't give you a receipt, but we can send you an email, whatever that means, that you can tender wherever to say you actually contributed to this." And they actually donated to us. So we've had occasions where somebody that is not even a Nigerian, not even African, they're actually contributing to it because they think it's laudable, they think it's sensible, and they're actually enticed by the prospect of replicating it somewhere. So the simple answer is yes, you can. As a group, as a set, yes.
Thank you so much, sir. We have a few more hands up. Ogagbenu Harrison, if you want to share your views, sir.
Yeah, Ogakola, thank you for what you shared and what you do. My question is part of the FAQ ones they said I'm looking at. I don't remember you sharing. Is this only for medical care only, or there's other needs that use that we can either bring somebody or refer somebody to you?
Okay. It's actually for medical needs. And since you are reporting yourself that you decided to skip, that part of my presentation, you're going to get a job for that. So this is actually what we've compiled to say it's our focus for now. And I've attributed this because of limited resources. And just to give you an idea, if I were to delve into the details, like back when we had the challenge of kidney transplant, and then we got to India and discovered that it was more complicated than just to do a kidney transplant, and we couldn't start shipping the person back. They had to do heart surgery first. That's one. Secondly, we had to flew in somebody, we flew in somebody who was a donor, and then another person who would cater, for their welfare, because you can't have two people on hospital bed and nobody running. So just exponentially, you're talking in several millions. And this is just a single case. And so we rely heavily on having a robust reservoir, like pause, because you never know when the next case will come up. And that's why we've actually said, when we talk of critical illness or medical cases, these are the metrics we're following to say, anyone that falls in between these, and the gaps you see where you say, maybe the people who have come in to say, yeah, we have maybe major surgery coming in. On further analysis and investigation, we discover we may be speaking or maybe using this words differently, because their own terminology of maybe major is they have high blood pressure. And we've had to say, oh, sorry, it doesn't belong, it doesn't qualify into this, but some other things may qualify. So that's really the focus for now. And you also see with that blue background, the potential to expand scope. Like we've alluded to, we have a number of us were so close. We have fond memories where who we are today because of our instructors and what they've been able to impact on us. A number of them, they are in their old age, not just old age. Sometimes it just feels good to give. But we do not do that here because it's only for critical illness. And I've had occasions where we had to treat that separately outside. The reason is we take it so seriously that for anybody who has donated to us, we must utilize this fund judiciously. We take accountability so seriously that every kobo, penny, or cent we spend must be accounted for. And so, in as much as we've had cases on compassionate ground that is equally deserving, but does not fall within the requisite definition of our critical illness. I hope that explains.
Thank you, sir.
All right. We also have a hand from Oga Yodeji Bankole Olushino. I got that correct.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tunde. I hope everybody can hear me clearly.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining.
Okay, thank you very much, Rashid. Well done. This is great and exceptional work that you guys have been doing for, and I'm sure this has been on for over 10 years thereabout, to be about 10 or more than that. My question rides on the back of Tosin's question. Is it not time to institutionalize for sustainability? What do I mean by that? Yes, you're a registered charitable organization already. So, you know, when you say you don't give receipts, I don't see why you can't. And that's not to say anything about how you operate already. This is one, this takes a lot of your time, I would imagine. And this is already a successful case or a successful operation. So when I talk about institutionalizing, particularly for sustainability, what I'm thinking is, isn't there a way that the body, the entire body, can support in this, such that there is, and again, you have already said there's no minimum or there's no maximum, but there's a sustained inflow of cash. So yes, personally, I can say I want to be giving 10 naira every month. Yeah, it can be us as individuals doing this, or, you know, but can there be a handshake between this humanitarian body and the operations of the body in itself? Now, the other thing when I talk about institutionalizing is that what happens today, it is Rashid, it is Chris, it is, you know, how does that evolve? I looked at everybody on that board of trustees, average age there easily 55, thereabout. What's going to happen thereafter? How do we, and I say we because I feel that this is something that everybody should want to be part of it, right? So how do we move on to the next level? Charity or charities or even if you look at it as philanthropy, is something that is on the world stage today. Everybody talks about it. Everybody does it. Businesses have their philanthropic arm, so there's enough a case for this, right? Particularly for a successful case. Now, when you say things like, when you say something like, oh, for privacy of people, yeah, it's good to also keep their cases private, particularly with respect to their personal information. But maybe also it's time to say these are our successes. Well, I see data there talking about transplants and all that. I think that this is a very successful operation already. But how do we achieve the next level? How do you ensure that funds are consistently flowing? And then how do we harness the success of this one for the entire body so that it is then a sustained institution, right? Beyond you, beyond Chris, beyond this beauty, beyond, for years to come, it will then, be sustained. Those are the thoughts that are going through my head.
Thank you so much, Ogayo. It's good to hear your voice, even though I'm not seeing your face. I don't think we've heard your voice, I don't know how many years now, so it's always good. The questions and the comments you've made, I put them into three groups. The first one is succession planning. And then you spoke about industrialization. And then, of course, sustainability, which is always at the back of our mind. And for each of these ones, there are no silver bullets for any of them. And I think if I take on the first one, which is succession planning, a lot of it, I think we derive it from even the Corporate Affairs Commission, where they mandate that you set up your board of trustees. And as you see one that is maybe either not willing to participate or moving on, there are processes where we can backfill or recover. God forbid, maybe 11 of us will not be on the same flight and then we all perish at once. Otherwise, that succession is already in place where for any reason, we can just, take in. And I would like to go back 14, 15 years ago when this idea came. It was still very rudimentary. And I believe in doing something over not doing anything. So that was the best attempt and based on the people I could reach, really. So there's really no scientific formula, maybe when you look at the constitution of those. But they've done a great job so far. And to the other one, in talking about our success stories, like I said, it's been amazing how many people we've been able to reach. And those are even like the key highlights. And when we talk of mental case, it's not one, not two, not three times, it's across sets. So we just use one line to capture that. So that's on succession planning. On industrialization, it is our desire to say, yes, how do we blow this on a massive scale? And that's why you see on how you can help and how anybody can help. We think by going digital, for instance, having a website, open it up, where it becomes easier for people to actually help when they want to help. A number of us are discouraged because they just think of maybe some of the process and say, oh, how do I send Naira? I don't have Zella, I don't have this, I don't have, and they just stop. And we think that by, putting some technology behind, hopefully at the end of this awareness, we get people who can volunteer and do this for us. We're hoping that will lead us towards the path of industrialization. And we have a number of ideas to support that as well, which perhaps for interest of time, I will not delve into. And then on the sustainability part of it, the last election, we had actually made our attempt. at the national level to make a pitch or to say, can this be part of what, and I spoke to it here, where we can remit, a percentage or something like that to this fund? Because one thing I've realized is anywhere we spend money, we tend to have an interest. When we do that at the national level, and each chapter knows that they're not just putting money, this is where it's going, and part of it is EXJAM Humanitarian Foundation. You're not only creating awareness, it means it's sustainable, because every year or every month that you remit money, it goes into our purse. And that means we have a minimum we can look up to. So these are some of the workings that it's not materialized, but we also have in mind. It's taking longer than we would like. And the good thing is, all of us were all part of, when we talk of national body or chapter body. And if we can all weigh our voice, especially when maybe the next meeting is coming up, and we can all be champions, or supporters of these ideas, so that we impress it and we speak with the same voice, and then we can elevate the importance we attach to this. I think then we'll be on a true path to sustainability. That's just some of the comments to your, inquisition, Ogayo. That's what I'd like to add to that.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I have another hand up. Ogago Solalere. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon and evening to everyone, wherever we may be. First of all, I would like to commend, the work that the humanitarian organization is doing. I know that over the years, I've seen many times, for firsthand, the work they are doing, and they are doing a terrific job. And you can see from the presentation that has been made, the publicity that has been given, that this is an organization that we all must support and be a part of. I'm just going to piggyback on what Tosin started and what I just said, on the especially his point that he brought up concerning institutionalization, and try to expand on that just a little bit, which I know you all are already probably thinking of, but then just reemphasize it. So the accumulation of our EXJAMs are probably in Canada, US, Great Britain, and then Nigeria. In these countries, I know in Canada and the US, for example, we have a 501(c) organization, which is supposed to be a philanthropic organization. In the path that we're going and all the good things that we're doing, I think that it should be on our, it should be on a board that we try to institutionalize the humanitarian organization in these different countries. As we all know, there are many advantages to doing that. There is a tax deduction that you get for the contributions that you make. There is there are organizations that are there, many businesses that are there, big philanthropic, big businesses that are there that will match whatever an employee is given to their philanthropy of choice. So that, of course, will help to increase the amount of money that we're bringing in. And it will also encourage, donation from many other, donations from other, help us to go out to larger entities, for example, I think it was the Melinda Gates here that was doling out money recently to numerous organizations around the world. By institutionalizing ourselves and making it a legitimate 501(c) organization here in the US, for example, that opens us up to be able to get such types of donations. So I will encourage us to think in that fashion as well, for the many benefits that we can gain, in terms of recognition, in terms of donation, and also in terms of participation. That's my contribution. Thanks.
Wow. Agagos, thank you very much. And I think we truly appreciate the richness and contribution, the different perspectives. This is what makes this, so enriching to all of us, as you see different perspectives, yours, Oga, your Gatosin, and everybody, Garrison, piping in. And it's just so rewarding to see that this passion is across board. It's just the next step, which is taking that action. So we got these good ideas, and I love it. And that's what I think part of the message today is to say, let this not just be a once-off. We're available, we're accessible. And if we have ideas, let's also, be willing. Who can help us do this? Given that, everybody has other things doing, I'll just quickly share this with you. I didn't go through it. And this is really the component, and there are nuances around it. And I've always said, for us to go global like that, we will rely on people who are on the ground, who can actually inform us of what is the best way. We don't want to start a charity or a nonprofit where at the end of the year, they also demand that you must pay certain amount of tax or certain amount of money must be available in your account. Otherwise, they blacklist you. So there are different nuances that we've looked at, and we're like, so at what point are we going to, settle on one? Because it cannot be for everybody and for everything. But the good thing, again, is that we are thinking about it as well. And we will really like all the help we can get to say, if we go here, we don't also want to start spending our hard-earned money that should be dedicated, for those who are sick, to now say because we want to maintain the jurisdictional purpose of setting it up in Canada, for instance, and we have to do a minimum spend or minimum requirement or do a tax on it. And so you see the way we've been trying to navigate here and there just to make sure that we maximize whatever we get towards the objective of the foundation. But yes, I think if we address some of these sustainability issues, making sure that we have money in our account, those ones shouldn't be any problem. And that should be the next level. So thank you very much. And it's something that I would like to say, I cannot give you all the answers here because I don't have it. I'll just rely on the fact that if we can keep in touch, we can maintain that regular contact and make sure it happens. Oga Tosin, Oga Gbenu, Oga Gos, whoever, let's see and let's fashion out action items to actually make us actualize it, to say, yes, this is what we want, this is how we are going about it. And then the board of trustees will be willing to just discuss and say, let's take it to the next level.
Thank you so much, Ogakola. So I think there are loads of opportunity to take the organization and even build on where the board of trustees have actually taken it to. For us as EXJAM North America, I think one of the things we will do is we'll go away, have some discussions as to how we can assist or be more involved in the Humanitarian Foundation. I know that other sets, I know Gatosin has already talked about 90 set and their involvement going forward. So I think there are all sorts of approaches that we can use with this. It could be at chapter level, it could be at set level, but there's a lot of opportunity for us to grow. I'll take maybe 1 or 2 more questions and we'll call it a day. I see your hand up again, Ogatosin. I don't know if it's the same time or
Yes, I want to make a suggestion, please.
Okay.
So I've heard of this foundation, and every time I hear of it, it comes across like it's been reinvented. Okay, I'm saying it in this manner, not to take away the hard work that's been done, but because uh, every time you hear of it, it seems like it's just trying to get across again. I want to suggest that uh, as an action point, the body can write the national, okay, and ask that the national should permit that a sort of a group, just for instance, a WhatsApp group that has all the sets and chapters, where you can directly communicate your plans, you can do this awareness on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and this information can be passed across. Because that way, we are able to, actively get the EXJAM community involved. As it is right now, it seems like a few people that, maybe are compassionate are the ones that are involved. But we need to get to a point where the structure of the EXJAM is involved. They are part of this, and they get the information of what is happening, who is being helped, and how they can also help. If we're able to do that, I am sure that not just 90 Set or North America, many other sets will be able to say, look, this is what is happening there. Let us contribute. Because definitely it will come to a point where the set or the chapter will need to help somebody. And, we don't want to do that when you don't want to come to the humanitarian point when it's already too late. So as an action point, I'm advocating that instead of just leaving it to chance, let us get to the national body and say, this is what we want. As participation already, get the sets and chapters on a platform where the humanitarian can talk to them almost, on a regular basis and pass that information and solicit for that assistance. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for those comments. It is in each and every one of us. We all belong to SET. It's not. So if we go back, again, that's where we can become ambassadors of this. So, but I think almost every set will be represented here. So it's something we can keep re-emphasizing. Let's not forget about it. It's not somebody's role per se. Let's make it our role. I used an analogy that time of saying, why do we remember our birthday or our kid's birthday? Why do we remember job interview that they set? It's because we put it in our calendar. It's because it's important. Why do we pay our bills? Because it's a priority. So I think it starts from self, from ourself. If we can do that, then it's easy to spread it across. I nag a lot of people on our 80 set. I've got so many people who do the same thing. Coyote does that on our behalf. I can call so many people who just constantly on 82 set. So it's something that they can say they are not aware. So if we can replicate that, so it's not, I don't want it to be handled like it's somebody's role to do that. It's our role. That's the least we can do. That's the takeaway for everybody, to constantly remind our sets to say, do you know this? Have you done this? Why are we raising funds? Why can't we do this for humanitarian? Let's take it as our individual action point. And I think we'll be able to spread that joy.
Thank you so much, sir. So we'll just take one final question, and I think it's just a follow-up from Ogayo. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you again, today. Rashid,
Yes,
I hear you. And I'm happy that Chidu is our set president. It's one set, and I'm sure that he's capable to speak for our set, and I'm certain that in our set we can make this happen as committing possibly to a regular contribution, because that's what the humanitarian body needs now: consistent contribution that you can plan on. And when you're talking about this kind of thing, you need to have your funds growing. It's not when you now have a case that you're now going around to to solicit. Now, but for me, I was joyed when you said that you engaged the association to then have some kind of consistency of dues, maybe a percentage of dues. I think that is where this body must go to. Now, we can either have that on a set. I know that, I think, if I'm not mistaken, elections are due pretty around the corner, or constitution is due to be, we're the ones that put these things in place. I think we should re-engage them, right? And then at the set levels, we can also champion it and ensure that it is passed. This is a standard thing. This is something that must happen, right? Such that a percentage of set dues is then put aside for humanitarian spend, right? And at the set levels, I talk about set levels because really and truly, that's where we have control, right? At the set levels, we can say that a certain amount every period, whether it is year, whether it is monthly, whether it is quarterly, will go to the humanitarian pause directly. So I think, please re-engage at the national level. Chedu is here. I will also, start. I know Chedu is even up to it anyway. There's nothing there. We will commit to it, and we'll start to do it. But I think now it's time to re-engage again at the national level, so that it becomes a part of the constitution that a certain percentage of dues go to the humanitarian pause.
No, thank you very much. And I'm familiar with Oga Chiedu, and without delving into details, we are actually indebted to him. He's had to make personal sacrifices in making some of our cases come to fruition, where he's had to forego some of his own even personal interest. So he's a champion, and just like each one of us. And so is the propagation beyond each one of us to, encapsulate our sets and our group and, individuals. And thank you for putting that in the limelight, Ogayo. And just while we're talking like that, I'd just like to acknowledge, without, calling names, how funds have also been coming in just because of what we're doing. And this is one occasion where I'm happy that actually people may not be listening to me, but they're actually acting on it. So thank you for those who are just making contribution as we are making this, to those who will find time within the next couple of days to also do that. We acknowledge all donations, and so thank you for that.
All right, thank you so much, sir. The details of what we have shared today, we will come back again, put that in a PDF. It will be shared with set presidents, chapter presidents, so that this will go out to everybody, and we can go through the information again. We're really grateful for your attendance. Any last words for us, Ogakola, before we...
Oh, yes. Sorry, I just
Sorry,
remembered.
Kola, gentlemen, sorry, if you permit me, sorry. I was in a meeting, and so I was a bit distracted, but I heard everything that has been said thus far. And let me start by commending you guys for this initiative and sustaining it. My take to it is, everything starts small, organic growth, and it grows, as you go along. I agree with those that suggested that you must reach out to the national body. Now, but when you talk about making and we need to look at things from a very realistic perspective. The sets, the chapters, how much do they contribute as their dues? How much do they raise, really? That you want to. So unless there's a review of what is paid as dues, you're not going to get any meaningful, or you won't raise substantial or meaningful funds to achieve this purpose. And I remember I mentioned it to someone that there's probably a need to review that. But of course, times are hard, and so we can't, deny that. I think also another thing that needs to be done, in addition to reaching out to the national body, is also um, you also need to reach out to certain individuals. I mean, we're all at different places or different places now in our lives. Some people are more fortunate than others, and those that are more fortunate, I tell you that there are a lot of people that will also that would be willing to support. Kola, like I said to you when we chatted, right? It's something that has been on my mind for a long while, but I just never got around to doing it. And there's so many other people like that, who who support this initiative, who think it's a laudable initiative. But once we get bogged down with our own daily activities and the vicissitudes of life, we probably will relegate it to the background. So I'm also going to concur with Tosin. And I mean, for now, I serve as the president of 81 Set. And for as long as I remain there, we will support this initiative. And, I would also drag some other 81 Set members that at least I know are in a position to support this as well and arm twist them into it. And I would also support in my personal capacity as well, so that at least I can fulfill that thought that has been in my mind. But for whatever it's worth, we must grow it, because as 81 said, and since I took over from Musa Ali Baba, and I'm sure Ayo is still here, so that we've supported. I mean, we've resurrected or taken someone off the streets, one of our own classmates. We've supported people medically and otherwise as well. And I mean, this has run into millions of naira. So if we're able to tie into this larger group, because at this stage, I mean, almost everybody has a medical condition when you get to a certain age. I have a medical condition at my age, and so many people, but a lot of people are also not fortunate enough to be able to afford proper medical care. So I think for me, somebody asked, should we expand it? If you expand it beyond this, then you're going to be dealing with all sorts of issues, different things that, really we won't be able to cope with it. So I think we should just leave it where it is. But once again, let me commend you guys and thank you very much for this initiative, and also for dragging a lot of us into it so that we stop procrastinating, and we will definitely support you to the best of our abilities. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that. And just tuning in, sorry, I've been on this presentation mode, so I couldn't really see who is in. I see my board of trustee, Oga Olugo, has been able to join. We called on you earlier. Oga Leslie is actually online. He's been quiet. Is there any other board of trustee? Please, can you just give us one or two words, please? I hope the microphone will work. Ogolugo, are you on? Can you talk?
Yes, I'm on.
Oh, that's good. It's good to hear your voice.
Yeah, I just sent the moderation is going on well, everything. So I didn't really see the need to speak. I just sent a message concerning this issue of getting to the national EXJAM. To me, it's not necessary. At the risk of sounding vain, I want to say the national frustrated every effort to incorporate the EXJAM Humanitarian Foundation as a humanitarian arm of the association during the recent constitution review, it was rejected that we are a body corporate. We should continue what we are doing. We should not be incorporated. However, it was granted that at every AGM, I'm given opportunity to speak to us, and that has been going on consistently. So if we want to do something different, it will be to reach out directly to the arms and the sets. They will be better positioned to attract participants to the foundation than going to the national. That's my take. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Okay, Leslie, do you...
Sorry, Rashid, just to piggyback on what Olugu just said.
Okay.
You know, who is the national? We are the ones that put the national there. And if there is an issue that the body wants, I don't see why anybody should go against something that the body wants. If it means that we should vote for it, then let's vote for it. This is a reasonable thing. It is something that is reasonable on all parameters. So there's nothing that should stand against it. If there's anybody that is standing against it, that person actually standing against the interest of the EXJAM. This makes absolute sense on all grounds. Now, it doesn't take away from the fact that as sets, we should, we can do whatever we like. And it doesn't even mean that it has to be part of our dues. We can commit, as a set, we can commit to say every year we're going to donate, we're going to contribute 1 million naira, 2 million naira to the humanitarian fund. And how we get about it is our own business as a group. But the point is, anybody that stands against this kind of thing then doesn't want the interest of the EXJAM. We voted them there. So that's the way I look at it.
Yes.
Sorry, can I just chip in? Can I just chip in something? This is Chiedu again.
Okay.
And look, I heard part of what you said, and just to add to what Ayodeji just said, right? Now, when I say, make contact with national can then reach out to the heads of the different sets and chapters and encourage them, because like Ayodeji said, it is a noble and laudable objective. When you allow, I'm sorry to say, some charlatans and you give them the opportunity to speak, everybody's going to speak and just say what they want to say because you've given them the opportunity to speak. It's like now that mobile phones are everywhere. You have people that just call you and say to you, "Good morning, sir, I just want to hear from you." And so that's because you put the phones in their hands. So, but you cannot take away the fact that this is a good initiative. And you never know who is going to benefit from it tomorrow. So what we will do is get the national president to convene a meeting with the heads of the different chapters and sets, and then the different heads of chapters and sets will then take it back to their respective chapters and sets and say, this is what it is. We're not going to sit down and just allow people who don't really understand this initiative and also do not appreciate what they've done, what they will do, and what they will continue to do. And that's why I also said there are also a lot of individuals who are in a good place at this point in time and may not be active, but may be willing to support. So what can happen also is that the heads of these sets and chapters can identify some of them and reach out to them, and say to them, please, this is what is going on. Are you willing to support? And so then I can assure you that you will definitely get a lot of people to support as well, who you probably may never hear from. So that was discussed, and some people said no, it's a body corporate or body incorporate, or it's not part of what they're doing. And so, what is the organization? What is the association for? At the end of the day, aside from bringing people together, we spend a greater part of our time supporting one another. That's what it's for. Thank you.
No. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry, I know I'm just trying to see whether there's other members of our board of trustee that would like to chime in. Is there anybody else online?
Yes, if I may.
Okay, Leslie. Okay. Yeah.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thanks, Kola. I just, I'm sorry I missed most of the presentation because I was caught up doing something else. But having been part of the foundation for quite a while now, and seeing this, I think it's laudable that a lot of people here support the objectives and the aims of the foundation and are looking to support it as best they can. And I think one of the reasons for this call, if I'm not mistaken, was to try to get more people to be aware of what we're doing and to try to extend our reach, both in terms of the mandate that we have, but also the resources that we can call upon to help more people. And I think that the reason we've managed to keep this going for so long is because we haven't been held back by the organization of the EXJAM Association itself. I think being subject to the EXJAM Association means that we're also subject to its faults as well as its good. These are the things that I think Oga Olugu is referring to here. We've got a clear constitution, we've got a clear set of objectives. Our accounts and our organization is very clearly set up such that we can receive and accept donations from all across the globe and from different founding members. And I think the important thing is that if you share the work that the vision of what we're trying to do, I think it's best to just support it as best you can, whether it's amongst your set, amongst your chapter, whether it's among your friends and other EXJAM. I think just if you believe that the people who are elected or set to run and manage its affairs and who report on it, if you believe that they're doing a proper job, then let's just support it. I think that if we start focusing on trying to get some sort of formal recognition from the wider body that is subject to a different set of governance, we're just going to not achieve anything. That's what I'll say. I know we're bound to the rule of law, but I think we need to try and separate the objective for the foundation from how it is supported from an EXJAM association, which may or may not necessarily reflect all the things that we think it should be doing. So that's what I'll say. So keep on with the good work, Kola and the rest of the Board of Trustees, and permission to fall out, sirs.
No, thank you very much. Just looking at, I see Oga Francis. Wow, thank you for joining. Really a pleasure. I see Gerard. Oh,
yeah, it's a pleasure.
Again, am I seeing here? Sorry. Okay, Ibrahim Ali, thank you so much. I see you're holding on.
Yep.
Okay.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really grateful to join your meeting. And I know this meeting is very important for the mission is set for itself, or the foundation to say. It's both an honor and also a privilege for me to be with you. I really have to acknowledge my roommate, Razak. You stood out as a gentleman. You've been a very kind, compassionate person. I don't know, I think that time I used to be quiet, but I think you are a little bit a very humane person. And I've not been for this meeting. I know you've sent so many mails to me on this foundation that I've made a contribution once in a while. But I think I will also continue to support, henceforth, I will support the foundation. And I believe that some of the things you have done, if you can bring it to the fore, let people know. I know medical treatment could be confidential, but when people are aware of those that have been taken care of by the foundation, to the extent to which they have gone, the support will come from other members of the causes, that is the associations. The fact that during the meeting, some people oppose the inclusion of the foundation as part of the EXJAM International may not be well founded, because it might just be the opinion of 1 or 3 members, or 4. It was not put to vote. So I think it would be good to publicize what you are doing. It has been mentioning people you have helped. I remember when I was the president of our course, which I handed over 2 years to Major General Ezugu, we had done so much for some of our, that is 37 regular course, that is NDA, I'm talking about NDA 37 regular course. We did so much for some of our late colleagues in terms of treatment. We still take care of widows. And because of what we have been doing, those who are not even part of the association, they were encouraged to join. So if you expand it to cover more members of the EXJAM association, you find out that even the contribution will increase, because you find out if one give 10,000, 5,000, and the number is large, you have more fund, that will be utilized. I just want to also make one inquiry. I want to inquire whether the foundation could research into reputable health facilities which will enable self-sponsored treatment of our colleagues, because of the meager resources and also the span of assistance you can give. I think you just mentioned about cancer, almost about 4 or 5 items. If you can research into that, most of us are growing old now, but there will be a situation whereby some of the EXJAM may want to sponsor themselves, but they will not be able, to have reliable or reputable health facilities. So if you can do that one and even share, it wouldn't be a form of, it's advisory, not actually an advert, so that it will not look as if maybe you're promoting some health facility against other, but at least reputable health facilities, so that even when the foundation will not be able to cater, those who have the resources will be able to know some of those reputable health facilities, and they can take care of themselves. Thank you very much for the good work we have been doing, and I will continue to support in my own way too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I truly appreciate that, and we have taken notes into most of this that we have contributed, and we will continue to do the best we can do. But I just, again, I'm just going through those attendance. Sorry, President Tunde. And I'm just trying to see an acknowledgement, the roster here. I see Dr. Sheu is here. Regina, thank you so much. I know I reached out. Oga Dixon, welcome. Never late, better than not coming at all. Emmanuel, thank you. There's Thomas. Oga Uwe, truly appreciate you coming. Ayuba, Mikhail. These are just some of the people. Eric is here. So thank you so much. Ramadan, thank you very much. I just pass it over to you, President.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for taking the time for sharing with us. I think quite a number of people have an understanding of the Humanitarian Foundation before. Some of us are hearing it for the first time in this level of detail. A lot of work to do, but a lot of work has already been done, and we're grateful to yourself, to the Board of Trustees for spending this time with us. Huge turnout, a lot more than we expected, but we're grateful. We will share the details with everybody in terms of the PDF version of this document. Thank you, sirs. God bless you. And if nothing else, I'd like to say thank you. And I know it's very late in Nigeria. Thank you so much for those who have joined us from Nigeria. Thank you for those who are joining us from all over the world. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Please don't go off. Don't come off the call. We're just ending this part of the